Mr. Khanna, let's start with you. You discussed the technological advancements for sustainable infrastructure. Can you share some specific examples where these advancements have had a transformative impact on an infrastructure project in India?
I will just give you the examples of reducing energy when you use these surface tolerant coatings on the roofs. Today, the surface tolerant coating, which is one of the patented product from IIT Bombay, sold to a company called Thermo Green. In the last 5 years, though the concept has taken by industry or other people very slowly, but today we are using this technology, new parliament building, Vyasta building, we are using it. The example I told you in the last slide, that how much energy we save on one building where we use one AC of a room of 1,000 square foot. And if you extend it to a small city, to a big state, and then to a country, then you find that the amount of carbon you save is very, very high. Now, we know solar and wind are doing the same thing. But in solar and wind, you have to do a lot of investment. You have to create a solar power plant. You have to create a windmill, and that too in outskirts to bring into that. Now, this is a technology where we call it solar heat reflecting do-it-yourself coating. It is a simple two-step process. Cleaning your roof, applying some primer, and then applying 2 coats of this. Now, this kind of technology, which can go from home to factory, from poor people, and like you see, so many corporation schools throughout the country, they are in very shamble conditions. The corporation hospitals don't have even fan. At least if this coating is applied on the roof of that, that will give a very good thing. So this kind of a change is happening. A lot of companies are coming with CRS money and helping to use this technology. And a lot of other people are trying to use this technology for this purpose. So this is one of the example which we have felt, and we have a data, and we can give you that in last 5 years, how many buildings, how many square foot which we have done, and people have found so much of betterment with this.
Thank you for sharing such an example, Mr. Khanna. Mr. Kulkarni, as a head of strategic procurement, how do you see these technological advancements influencing procurement strategies and vendor management? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got your question.
Mhm.
So, with the help of this digital platform, we able to source out the various types of vendors across the India who are wish to associate with the Rajpath because they are expertise into their field since across the India, and they have the capacity and capabilities according to supply and their existence at various locations for high value items for to cater the various items of the project. So with the help of digital platforms, so they are attached with us and supplying us with a very good commercial and quality terms so that everything milestone can be reached.
That's very insightful, Mr. Kulkarni. Mr. Boyle, with your expertise in plant and machinery, how do these technological innovations affect the equipment and machinery used in construction? And what benefits do they bring?
Thank you for asking this question. It's very important. See, as far as road construction is concerned, day by day, you have been observing, if you see before 25 to 30 years, the PWD department, how they were laying roads. One small mixture, they were putting the concrete, they were putting the bitumen inside the mixture, mixing, repairing the roads, laying, so this was the, and a very, very low technology machine like a paver. Usually when Apollo paver was available in India, if you talk about more than 20 to 30 years, but now if you see, Caterpillar has introduced, Wedgen has introduced, Wedgen Vogle, even Dynapack, road equipment manufacturers, they have introduced high technological, performance equipments like paver. Apart from paver, what was happening when you are laying asphalt, the material transported was from a tipper truck. It was directly getting unloaded in the paver. Now there is a advanced technology that the tipper truck is unloading the material into a mobile feeder. Mobile feeder is mixing the material homogeneously, and it is transporting the homogeneous mixed material to the asphalt paver. So there is no jerk, homogeneous material is laid and uniform. So the quality is, we cannot imagine, the quality is very, very nice, and the riding quality, which is must for a finished product of asphalt, is really appreciated. And the Guinness World Record, we used a mobile feeder, added value to the Guinness World Record, that the machine did not stop for 105 hours because homogeneous mixture was transferred to the paver, which was paving the road. Moreover, see, when we have some road construction, suppose now we have greenfield, there is no road at all. So what new technology is doing, Wetgen has introduced one soil stabilizing machine, cement spreader, then one shift foot roller. So if you adopt the recommended method statement, time consumed is less, quality is well controlled, material consumption also is minimized. There are some layers like CTB, CTSB, then we have WBC. So this material consumption also gets minimized if you are using these advanced technologies, and it is very successful. So day by day, we are getting advanced machineries which are very helpful for infrastructure, road construction.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Boyle, for sharing such deep insights. Mr. Khanna, returning to you, can you highlight how sustainability is integrated into the development of transportation networks and smart cities, given your experience in surface engineering?
Transportation wise today, if you see, uh, I mean, in our own life, we have seen I'm driving my car from last, I think, 35 years. From a simple Maruti 800, today we have very sophisticated cars with very good environmental control, with very good speed control. And now the electric has changed the whole thing to a very different manner. Now, this is only one factor. The second important factor for conserving energy or conserving fuel is also good roads. I think that good road and traffic sense. Now, this is something which is not in the hand of companies. It is in the hand of governments or state governments what kind of rule they make and what kind of strictness they keep for the traffic control. In fact, it is surprising to know that in the last one decade, the traffic on the roads have become totally disarray. The footpaths are totally occupied by the encroachers, and people are walking on the road. And that is one of the biggest problem of in sustainability, because if the car will not run with a proper speed, it is not going to conserve energy, and hence the sustainability effect goes very bad. As far as housing, etc., is concerned, I think lots of new construction which is coming. It is coming when you talk about cities, it is more congested. I mean, today, even if you see a city like Bombay, there are buildings in which you just see only, flats and 40-story buildings. And in one 500 square meter area, you see so many buildings with such a big height. And all those people, when come on the roads and use the facilities, that creates a very bad thing. And again, there is a restriction on the balconies and other thing, which really creates a very bad, uh, what do you say, that fresh air requirement and other kind of a thing. So I will really say that because of the large uh, uh, population and more demand for houses, we are really not making the best houses for common people, at least for rich people. Another thing, yesterday we saw somebody had purchased two flats with 263 crore. You know, that may be having all the facilities, but the common man, for which the construction is made, they really are not getting the proper benefit of all these things because of this population. Of course, I think that in today's time, you just cannot make houses open because of safety and other kind of the things. So there is a mixed situation. Although we want that we should have fresh air in the house and all these things, but because of safety reason, we cannot keep our houses more open and all this kind of a thing. So I think that time has still to come to look into this thing and create a balance between these two factors.
Thank you for stating such amazing facts, Mr. Khanna. Moving on to Mr. Kulkarni. In terms of procurement for sustainable infrastructure, how do you balance cost efficiency with the need for environmental friendly material and processes?
Madam, recently I just want to share one of utilization of sustainable material, which is a cement. Cement is the major ingredient which goes into the road construction. So earlier it was OPC cement, OPC 43 grade and 53 grade was consumed into the concrete. So alternately, we have source out and getting the source approval from our esteemed clients like NHI and state government project head. So use of PPC cement, which is a fly ash based cement. So ultimately use of fly ash based cement, which reduces the original limestone, which ultimately prevents protects our environment for the exploration of limestone mines, and use of fly ash at the power plant. So, with the help of fly ash and that minimization of that pure cement, we able to do the concrete with the cost effective manner. The cost of OPC cement and the cost of PPC cement is there is a drastic difference, and use of transportation with the help of separate using the fly ash that involves the transportation costs as well as the fuel and the atmospheric carbon dioxide evolution of carbon dioxide, that is totally eliminated. So use of alternative source as a PPC cement with the OPC cement, we are able to balance the earth as well as we are able to reduce the cost and maintain the quality as per the guidelines given by our client.
That's quite indeed, Mr. Kulkarni. Thank you so much. Coming back to Mr. Boyle, from a machinery perspective, how do you ensure that the equipment used in the mega infrastructure projects aligns with the sustainability goals?
Madam, see, first of all, when we are at bidding stage, when you are bidding a particular project, it is well known what is a project, what is a time period, what is the value, and to execute this project, what are the machineries required. They are already earmarked. And the award of an project is purely based on the method statement of executing a particular project within the limited budget and with specified machineries. Now, as you have already asked, when we are designing some activity, let us say any item with particular strength, the client has already specified the strength with specified material. Okay. Now it is upon the contractor's smartness how to maintain that strength with lower cost and without affecting the quality. So when we are going to execute one, suppose grading, we are grading some material with a grader. Over that, we are using one roller to compact. If you remove these two items, two equipments, and use one paver, let us say WMM, one paver or GSB, if you are spreading 50% of the compaction is done by that particular paver. Client is not asking how you are doing, client is asking to maintain the quality. So it is upon the company, upon the party, how you complete your project with specified technical specifications laid down by the, either it is PWD or it is NHI. So we are, what we as contractors are, we are approaching the manufacturers that do you have such a machinery which can perform this particular job so as to minimize the cost, minimize the time, maintain the quality. And there are many of such equipments, like I told you, soil stabilization. Soil stabilization is in situ. It is done on the surface. It is removing the material, mixing the material, then laying, then one compactor is used. So when you calculate the total cost incurred on this equipment, you will see it is high. But the work done by this equipment, if you calculate per square meter, the cost is going to come down, because the machineries which are manufactured are thoroughly tested, and they are testing the laboratory. They are conducting the test in some particular highways like Mumbai Expressway. We will share you after this program in Mumbai Expressway how much in situ soil stabilization was done, and which has saved a lot of money for the contractor, and the client is also happy and HI is also happy. So we are not only depending upon the machineries which are available with us, but we are exploring the possibilities to get the latest technology machine. Our management is, they are also very much involved in this process. Please let us explore the possibilities, best possibility which we can give to our client without taking any risk on the quality. So this is the way we are introducing latest technology machines which are already available. If not available, we give our requirement to the consultants of the manufacturers, and they are already working on it. And I hope the coming years in the infrastructure is going to be very, very favorable for the country and for the contractors. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boyle, for sharing your expert views. Coming back to Mr. Khanna, could you please shed some light on the role of surface engineering in prolonging the lifespan of infrastructure projects and reducing the maintenance costs?
Surface engineering is the crux of the infrastructure project. One of the most important requirement of bridges, flyovers, and many big malls and other things, that when you construct these kind of things, you need a very long life, and also the stability of the structure with as minimum repairs as possible, and at the same time it also gives you the proper look, and virtually it should it should not look shabby and other kind of thing. So in all these things, the surface engineering makes a very important thing. Today, when you work for very big civil projects, today most of the construction like cutting, making hole, bending is done by very sophisticated machines which were not available earlier. Like for example, if you have to cut a particular section for a flyover, construction or for a bridge, we use high class laser cutting machines which cut a very clean thing without wasting even a of things into that. Similarly, you have to cut a profile. For example, today, if you have to make a bridge and you have to make a very nice balcony, no, not balcony, the fence on the both side. I mean, you can create whatever designs you want onto that. Then comes the quality of the paint which you use. Today, you can get paints which can go from 6 month life to almost 25 years life. So one can use the special kind of paint systems which are uh, because when we do the painting, though the paint cost is very less, the most important cost comes in the application process. That's why it is very important that today the modern methods of application should be used, which take less labor, and at the same time it gives you a better quality of the application, which in turn gives you much longer life. So today, surface engineering, right from first, you can also see the quality of paints today. As I told you, from 6 months to today, we can make paint system which can go for 25 years or so. And at the same time, we can also use special paint systems for very special applications, decorative applications, or even long-term corrosion protection application. So all these things, surface engineering try to put. When you go for actual application, surface engineering has the proper procedures, what we call the standards. So each and every work is done as per the standard, as per the instruction. And if it is done, I can assure you that the design life as indicated by a particular paint system is achieved. So definitely there are so many things which surface engineering can do, and it is doing to make our construction and infrastructure and even machinery work much simpler and gives long life. And definitely when it gives long life, it also gives you a very good output.
Thank you, Mr. Khanna, for sharing such valuable insights. Moving on to Mr. Kulkarni. How do digital procurement platforms contribute to efficient vendor management, and how have they impacted the procurement process recently?
In terms of vendor management, we have digitally procurement done through all digitally procurement done with the vendors with a platform like we can say that it by the RBI for the payment processing like RXIL, that Invoice Smart, etc. So we have entered MSME class of vendors for paying the payments, rotating their repayment cycle, which is done through their platform. For introduction of new vendors done through digital platform was like Tata Group. Tata was initially associated in the basically called as a Tata Nexar. So they are famous for as a digitally they have introduced themselves as a digitally platform. So they have entered into with the Rajpat Infracon Private Limited for supply of steel, other materials. So they like the all the vendors have entered through e-procurement system. So we have a registration process. We are evaluating their capacity for the supply, then financial accessibility for giving us a longer credit period, and availability of material, engagement of various types of vendor like OEMs so that they can supply will be the assurance factor. So we can introduce and register such type of vendors so that they can able to supply us within our terms and condition as per guidelines given by the management. We are not like that every vendor wish to introduce and we just entered and registered that vendor into our platform. So we have standard evaluation process and monitoring after a certain period so that vendor is performing as per parameter of quality, quantity, and commercial terms. So these are the parameters we can just evaluate and entered into the proper vendor evaluation processes as well as vendor development processes.
That's very informative, Mr. Kulkarni. Thank you. Mr. Boyle, how has technology influenced the choice of machinery in constructing smart cities and transportation networks? And what challenges have you encountered in implementing these technologies?
See, as far as new technological machines are concerned, they are not isolated to any state. Pan India, you can contact any supplier, you can contact the OEMs, they are pan India. So transportation issue does not arise. If you have a project in Delhi, you have OEMs in Delhi. You can get the machines delivered at the site. If you have project in any other state, they have OEMs are everywhere. So we are not confined to shift the reliable machineries from one state to another state in rare cases. When you own a machine and you don't have pan India projects, so certainly you have to transport. So that is additional cost, but it is already budgeted. When you bid for a project, suppose we are in Maharashtra and we are bidding a project in Rajasthan, so our machines, if they are not available near by Rajasthan state, and we have to shift, we have the budget. So there is no additional cost incurred on this. It is already budgeted. It is already planned. And machines which are reliable, which are already in place for the new infrastructure projects, already most of them are available with the construction companies. Very few, in case you have the quantum is more, so you have to add on the machines. But certainly, suppose we have now project in Andhra, we need not transfer machines from Pune. If our machines are already available with us and we have to transfer, there is a budget for that, and we have planned. If you want to add new machines, we will place the order in Pune, but they will be delivered from Hyderabad or near about our site. So the machines are available anywhere in India. So I think this is the proper reply for your question.
Thank you, Mr. Boyle, for sharing such excellent insights. Moving on to Mr. Khanna. So, my question to you, as we strive for sustainable infrastructure, what role do innovative coatings and surface engineering techniques play in mitigating environmental impact?
Today, one of the biggest subject in the field of surface engineering itself is sustainable coatings, sustainable uh, raw materials which are used for the paint coating. Now, today, you know that uh, paint coatings, if you see the basic definition of a paint, it is basically a resin mixed in a solvent. And the solvents basically are benzene, toluene, and xylene. All these three solvents are very, very toxic. And when you get a paint in the market, and when a person applies it, the most affected person is the applicator. Because the applicator is almost next to it, the brush of the paint and next to the surface. And most of this volatile content, because paint application is nothing but when you apply a paint plus additive together in a solvent, and when you apply it, solvent evaporates and the solid remains in the form of coating. So the material which evaporates, that goes into the environment, partially into the person who is working for that thing, he very much gets affected. So what you are doing environmental pollution, and at the same time you are giving bad environment to the person who is working on that. That is one. So that's why today one of the challenge in paint industry is to go for waterborne coatings. Now, waterborne coating means instead of the benzene, xylene, and toluene, you use water as a solvent. And today, in decorative market, of course, there is a very big progress in the use of waterborne coatings for that thing. But when you talk about coatings for structures, for steel, and for chemical industry, waterborne coating is still not a very good alternative into that. So we have another alternative which is called low uh, solvent paints, in which the solvent concentration is very low or there is no solvent at all, which is called solvent-less coatings. And again, there is a very strong method of making very thin coatings. You see today, all the electronic industry, when you get your mobiles in your hand, the very thin 4 to 9 micron coating is there, which is made by the sol gel process. And such technologies are coming, which is a totally waterborne technology, and this works very nicely into that. Second important thing is that, I am the chairman of one of the BIS committee on raw materials for paint coating. One of the things which we have made in that kind of a thing is to reduce the lead content in the paint. Especially, I mean, at one time, people used to have 2000 ppm of that thing. Today, for general item, it is 900 ppm, while for toys and other thing, it is restricted to 300 ppm. So today you will see that if you get a good quality of the toys are all different colored. So there the lead level is very, very less. The fourth important thing is that one of the most important part of the paint coating is the color. And the colors usually come from either inorganic pigments or organic pigments, but many inorganic pigments are also carcinogenic, which are dyes. So there are restrictions today, don't use dyes which are carcinogenic in nature. So if you take this combined effort, today sustainability is talked more in surface engineering and paint coating, so that you can use. In the same way, when we clean the surface, there is a process called sandblasting. Today, sandblasting is totally banned. Why? Because the sand which we pick up from the beaches is having a lot of silica, and the people who use this sand, the silica goes and sits in their heart, and it causes a lot of heart problem and lungs problem and so on and so forth. So all these things are today used very, very carefully in paint industry when we use a good quality of paint and call it as a sustainable paint.
Thank you for sharing excellent inputs, Mr. Khanna. As we are near to the end of our session, I request Mr. Boyle to share some closing remarks.
Yes, thank you, madam. I think we have left one very important talk on maintenance. We have discussed various aspects of machinery, latest technology, paving the way for good infrastructure, but we have not taken up this point of maintenance, which is the backbone of the machinery. So nowadays, if you want output, you have to maintain it. Whether it is machinery, whether it is human being, so we have to be fit and we have to keep them fit. So now, as far as the maintenance is concerned, there are many new methods the OEMs have introduced, and we are following those methods. But apart from these methods, when the warranty period expires, normally what is the tendency of an organization to keep the machine up to date or maintain the machine up to date based on the recommendations of the OEMs. This is only for the warranty period. But if we really want our machines to be available with maximum efficiency, we have to maintain them after warranty period also. So for that, we need to have very strong system, very strong team of experts, those who keep the maintenance updated so that we can optimally utilize the machine with optimal efficiency. And this is the backbone of any project. If you want to conclude, we have to be very, very alert about these maintenance procedures. So they must be in place without any compromise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boyle, for your views.
Thank you, panelists, for exchanging your valuable thoughts on today's topic, the wonders of mega infra push. We hope you have enjoyed it. Before wrapping up today's session, we would like to thank our distinguished panelists, Mr. A.S. Khanna, Mr. Gajanan Kulkarni, and Mr. Radhesham Boyle. For viewers who have joined us today, we would like to have your feedback and encourage you to stay connected with us via our social media handles. B2B Purchase magazine is available on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also download our app from Google Play and App Store. We also request our viewers to stay tuned for future interactions. With that, today's interaction has now come to a close. Thank you and goodbye.